Hey friends, welcome to the Strangers in Common podcast. I hope this finds you well, and if you're not well, that's okay. I'm always here for you. Before we jump into this episode, there's a couple things I want to go over. One, we're just starting out, so bear in mind there's always room for improvement. If you want to send me a message, I'm always open to suggestions on what you want to hear, what you don't want to hear, things like that. Two, I don't really do any editing of the episodes. So you're going to hear audio discrepancies, you're going to hear noises in the background, things of that nature. So keep that in mind. As we grow, that that could improve for sure. Um, so just kind of things to keep in the back of your mind while you're listening to these episodes. So we'll go ahead and jump in. So let's get to know somebody that you don't. Today, we're going to get to know Russ. All right, Russ, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, bud? It is working.
Thanks for joining me. So I guess we'll jump in and get everyone to get to know you. So I don't know where you want to start.
You can hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. You're good.
Cool. Right on, right on. Yeah, no, it's up to you. I mean, I'm
Well,
not,
I mean, whatever, whatever you want to talk about. Like, if you want to, I don't care if you want to start from the beginning. The humble beginnings of
but like
your
when we
childhood.
first, you talking like when we first met or like when I first met the world?
When you first met the world, man, it doesn't have to be
Oh,
about me.
okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be about me and you. So
Okay. No, I mean, born on Halloween, you know that. Now everybody else does too. Um, I don't remember the day very well. I know it was Wednesday. I was born on Hump Day. And
I don't think most people remember the actual day they were born.
well, some say they do. I do remember
Maybe.
earliest memory. So the earliest memory I have, all I remember, I was little, wet, and naked, playing with a balloon that they made out of a glove.
You
Like,
you can remember that far back.
yeah. Well, I don't remember how old I was though. My mom says I was probably around 7 or 8. She thinks it was my tonsils, but I swear I was smaller than that. Like I
I
was
was gonna
like a baby thing. You know what I'm saying?
right 7 or 8. That might be
Traumatic.
kind of weird to be naked and wet.
Well, it was. I remember it being traumatic too. It stood out. Like I was getting ready. I was being wheeled into surgery,
Oh, okay,
so it was like okay. I was getting my. I think I was getting. Well, I don't know. Tubes in my ears, my tonsils out.
that's funny. I had tubes also.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Uh, I was always worried they like blew out once in a while just because like I couldn't hear in the
Oh,
mouth when we'd go up there.
yeah, they just fall out, right? That's what happens.
Oh, that's what I heard. Yeah, they just kind of like stitches. They just kind of rot and deteriorate and
Okay,
absorb them.
so so what was it like growing up for you?
That's. I was just gonna say I had a humble life. I remember me, my mom, my dad. We lived a lot. Like I remember most of my childhood was living with our grandmother. My grandmother, my mom's mom,
Okay,
was old school Thornton over there by if you remember where Monterey Elementary is,
I do. Yeah.
right across the street from Shithole. I mean Skyview High School. I went there. I went there is where I started school. But yeah, I mean the biggest thing that happened to me at the time, and everybody thought it traumatized me, but what was more effective in my like emotional status at the time was my dog dying. But when my parents got divorced, I remember being in the basement at grandma's and then like, we need to sit down and talk. I was probably
Right.
8 or 9 at the same time. I was probably about 9, 10, somewhere in there. That's why that one memory is so like, but I was littler because I don't remember that happening at the same time.
So you said your dog died and
But yeah,
your
the
parents
dog
got.
was dying, and it
Okay.
started kind of like not caring about school and just like realizing.
Oh, so it was kind of like the domino effect, right?
Well, it was a wake up. It was like life is real. Life is not just something that you do and then it eventually like. I guess it was more of like my first experience of death,
I gotcha.
and it was like okay, well then that's maybe just kind of realize that there's more to it than just fucking around basically, even as a kid. And then with the parents,
Right.
first it was like, wow, okay, so like I'm losing everything that I knew as wholesome and loving.
So, so when that happened, did it just make you more distant from everybody
I
in
was just
general?
thinking that actually. It's funny you asked that because I was just thinking maybe that was the first little marker in my life that made me. I don't want to say isolate because I don't really isolate myself. I'm not introverted. I'm more so now than I used to be for sure.
Right.
But yeah, I don't.
Guarded. Guarded
I
is a
could say
better word.
that probably made me a little more jaded
Okay.
life,
Right.
even as a kid. But no,
So then, so then, when your parents divorced, did you spend more time with one than the other?
yeah, oh yeah, no, I was with my mom through the week, and then every weekend I'd go see my dad. And during
Okay.
the first couple of years, they were always trying to like reconcile and talk. They just needed space type thing. So
Right.
Sundays, my mom would show up, and then they'd end up being like kind of like it was when they were married, together, not separate.
Right.
So that was cool. I remember some times during that. Of course, typical divorced kid shit where like, two Christmases, two birthdays. I always thought that was kind of cool.
Right. More
Yeah.
presents.
Well, and they were smart enough and cool enough to coordinate. So like I remember one year, uh, as you know, we're old enough to know when Transformers were like new and a thing, not no red
Right.
they're cool again thing. Um, do you remember when the bases came out, like the big ones that like the city that they
Right. Yeah.
transform? You remember that? And then the planet for the bad guys, or it was a dinosaur. I remember that. I got both those one year for Christmas. It was great. Fucking
You're like, all right, all right.
yeah, and it was like, yeah, I can get used to this. Like, the divorce. I kind of glad you guys broke up. I kind of like this. There was little things like that. Like one thing too, my dad was always the party guy. Like I think he was trying to sell me, and eventually kind of did. So like when I met you, we were in high school. Remember? It was
Right. I do.
oh, you didn't go to York, did you? You didn't go to the same.
No, I met you in high school.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it was freshman year, Miss Alpern's room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. In our French
I can tell
class,
in
we
your
were
voice,
doing a
you're
bunch
just
of
like,
French.
dude, I have like blocked those memories out.
I didn't block them out. It was the French class, and yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't learn any French, so
French, and didn't we have each other in moving in too, which was the same bitch?
pro probably,
I
yeah,
think
I
so.
believe so. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I know it sucks, right? Because I still kind of remember some of it, most of it, like it was yesterday. But it's like, fuck, that was like what 20 years ago now,
Yeah, 25 years ago, something like that.
something like that. But no, so anyhow, though, in that time frame right there, I would go to my dad's, and like the weekends would be, we would we'd go out to the arcade, and then we'd like go hit like either the big Kmart or well, I guess it was pretty much just Kmart. Buy some movies. We'd buy
Oh, yep,
we'd look for a Godzilla movie or scary movies. Just we'd go check out movies, and then yeah, we'd go home and either maybe watch a movie depending on what time it was and eat, and then it'd be Saturday or the next day we would just hang out and watch movies all day. And then that was spending time with my dad. Spending time with my mom, it was pretty much on my own. She was working two jobs. She had her main job during the day. And then at night she started bartending. That's when she started drinking. So she was
right,
really gone. So that was cool too because I had freedom. I literally like she would leave fuck sometimes close to $100 worth of quarters sitting on her dresser.
oh wow,
And yeah, well, and I found out later talking with her that she did all that. She did everything she did intentionally to help me because she knew I was smart enough to take care of myself. But like I always thought I was kind of stealing from her and all that. It's like I know she'll know, but I would
right,
and be like, hey, I'm hungry. Mom's at work. I'm gonna order a pizza. I'm not gonna call her and bug her because she's working. She's busy. So I'd call the pizza place, be like, hey, I need to order a pizza. All I've got are quarters to pay. I'm sorry, but I'm hungry. Of course, back then a pizza delivery was $5, $7.
right. And what age range was that when you were pretty much
That
taking care of
was
yourself?
pretty much from about 12 to about 15, 16.
Okay,
because right around then, my grandma, so right around 16, 15, 16, my grandma got sick, my mom's mom. And that's when a little event in my life changed where I moved in with my dad instead of my mom.
Right.
At that point, though, even before that, a few years earlier, and my sister had been born because my dad had remarried, had a couple. Well, he eventually had a couple kids, but at that point in my life, the my sister Ariana was shit maybe born. That's about the time she's conceived. She's 12 years younger than me, so 43.
She was little when we were
Yeah,
hanging out. I know that.
yeah, she was like 2 or 3. But no, so like hanging out with my dad, it was hanging out with my dad and his new semi cute young stepwife because she was only 17 when they met and 18 and pregnant basically with my dad, who was an older gentleman. He was a few years younger than I am now. 30, I think he was 34, 35, something like that. Anyway, though, yeah, they did their thing. And when I'd hang out, we'd have fun still, but they started talking me into potentially moving in. And it all kind of coalesced. It was my grandma dying, me and my mom having more arguments and just kind of butting heads, buying into my dad's bullshit, wanted to check it out.
Right.
And I'm glad I did, even though it didn't last long, uh, because of my sister. I got to spend time with her and get to know her.
Right.
And then same with, well, CJ was, I only got I think about a year with CJ before I left. But Um, yeah, it wasn't a regret, it wasn't a mistake, but it was definitely something I should have thought more into.
Well, we tend to make rash decisions a lot. So,
But yeah, well but like I said, it was a good thing because that's when you guys got to know me and you remember how cool my dad really was. I mean, he
oh,
was
I
a father.
remember hanging out at your house and
Yeah, I mean,
playing
just
video games and
pretty much free run. And then when I
yeah,
got
nobody.
shit, well, and then when I got old enough to drive, fuck, I could just take the car. My dad's rule for driving when I was driving is just as long as you're home before I got to go to work, I won't
Right.
be mad. And that was 5 a.m. So I was like, fuck, all right. Walk around all night. I like this.
Yeah, you're like, oh, 4 o'clock. I just got to get home.
Dude, I remember one night partying with I was partying with Ryan Savage, Jeremy Boyd and all them. Up there, you remember all them, right?
I do. Yeah.
Alex David, the cul-de-sac.
Yep.
I was up there partying. Dude, I couldn't have been. I was probably 16. I think I'd just been driving for about 8 months at that point. I locked my keys in the car and I was stoned as hell. Everybody's drunk except for me. I still to this day I don't drink a lot, if ever, hardly.
Right.
Okay. Uh, I locked my keys in the car. I remember sitting outside for almost 2.5 hours playing fucking catch the hook, with because I was able to I had the window down just a little bit and fighting.
Oh, so you had a hanger and kind of.
Well, yeah, fighting to get the keys out. It was actually the time. It was when me and uh, Ryan Savage bonded. Kind of, we actually got to know each other better. We always just kind of hung out I hung out at his house and shit, but we never actually did anything
Right.
until that night. It was just, dude, we had a blast. It was fun. It was the funnest fucked up situation I had been in up until that point in my life, if that makes
Yes,
sense.
it does. It does.
But yeah, no, dude. I mean, my younger life was wild. Being an only child, bouncing as a ping pong ball.
So, when your parents divorced, did you hold any resentment towards either of them?
No, no, not at all. Actually, I understood. At the time, I was a bit young, but it didn't take me long to realize that like things were actually better for. They were all happier. They were both happier. I could see.
Okay, nice.
I knew it.
Well, at least you were able to recognize that and not think that it was your fault or anything like that.
Oh, I did blame myself for a little bit. I think every kid does, though, especially when it happens to them so young.
Right.
But to a degree, then I realized it's like, no, you know what? There are people too. I mean, not bragging, but I always kind of had a good recollection of the world to me when I was even young. Like,
So,
just understanding things and all that. I
Right.
think I
So
was
with that,
actually a
and
pretty
because
bright
you,
kid. Sorry.
no, you're good. You're good. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just finishing my set statement saying I like to think I was a pretty bright kid. You know, I mean, I had a firm grip on what the fuck life was going on at that point in my life.
So with that, and you being jaded, kind of about everything, how? Because I know me personally with school, it was I knew this stuff. I got bored with it. So
Yeah.
how did you manage with school? Was it kind of the same way, or did you just not take an interest at all, or
Uh,
was it certain things?
I saw high school more as hanging out with you guys. I honestly, I when I look back on it, again, it's not a regret because I don't regret much. I do have a few finally in life at 43 years old,
Right,
which is new to me because like I didn't regret much of anything up until probably about 10 years ago, 9 years ago. Um, well, I wouldn't say that. Anyway, no, it was me just to go show up, hang out. With you saying, yeah, the shit was just like it's like I already kind of knew it. I didn't like I'd never read To Kill a Mockingbird before or
right,
that, but it was like it wasn't what I wanted to do. I didn't see the point in it because I had read Stephen King at that point in life,
right.
or I did other things, just not the way they wanted me to do it. So that's why I'd show up and just, I mean, be the class clown. I just wanted to, hang out with my friends. I always like to be goofy, and especially if I'm bored, which yes, school is boring. I've learned with my college years, we should all have to wait. Like when we're kids, we shouldn't go through high school. The early education till about ninth, 10th grade, fine. But around 10th grade, 11th grade, we should all have to start working. And then when we turn 25, 30, we get the choice to go to college, but it's free. Well, maybe let make us pay just a little bit so that way it's actually more invested.
Okay, I got you.
Because I loved college. It was going back at 35, getting my degree, actually hanging out, and it was hanging out with a bunch of kids, which was weird. But in that same breath, it was like I could relate more to the teachers than they could. So I think I got a little bit of a better education.
So what made you decide to go back?
College,
Yeah.
I was hoping to better myself. And I mean, in some ways I did, but when I say that, I was more of like my status in life, my situation.
Okay.
But with life, things change,
They do.
and I don't do long term very well. I would still probably be in college if my ex hadn't left me when we got divorced.
Gotcha.
Just because, I mean, she was facilitating it. We were
Did you?
okay, but
Right. So do you have a desire to go back for more now?
if I could, and I thought about it, I've gotten kind of used to the financial status I have right now, the money I make with work.
Okay.
So it drives me crazy, and I do think about quitting every morning, pretty much 3 times, 4 times a week.
I think that's most people. To be honest,
Yeah,
you wake up and
exactly.
don't want to go. Don't want to go.
Exactly. And I bitch about my job a lot, but when I think on it, when I actually look at the big picture of it, my job is pretty mellow. It's more emotional and social stress that I deal with than actual work stress.
Okay.
Yeah, just you know how it always goes. And the job's great, but the politics suck.
Yeah.
I
That's most
work
jobs.
with I work with Eli Wilkinson.
Yeah.
So I mean, working with a best friend that somebody you've known for almost 30 years, 25 years.
Right.
Oh, I've known him as long as I've known you. So yeah, 25, 30 years.
Yeah. It's getting up there.
Um, it's an interesting dynamic, but it does make for some stressful moments. One thing we do well is we do realize work is work, even though we do have a few moments here and there where it'll blur.
Right.
But for the most part, dude, I get it. And he's like my boss's boss. So he's a higher up. But
So
I, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, you're good. You're good.
I used to say my biggest bitch about work is the fact I do four different things, but I only get one paycheck.
Yeah, that again will happen with most jobs,
Right. If you let it.
unfortunately.
Yes, if you let it.
Um, so after high school to up to where you went, got married, and went back to college, in that gap, what happened in that time?
Oh, that gap was an ugly gap. That gap was, well, it wasn't a bad gap, but I did a lot of bad things. I as they say, fell in with the wrong crowd, even though I still love the guys today. They're some of my best friends as well. Even though honestly, actually one of them's still around. But no, after school and all that, I met up with well, I don't even know if I should say their names. They might get mad if they
Yeah, we may not. What is say some people?
you know who I'm talking about though. And yeah, I mean
I think so.
we partied hard. I met some new chemicals to introduce to my body. I remember though at that point after school, well, so school I didn't really end for me. I got to see you guys graduate, but that's when I was living in the mountains.
Right,
Um, it was yeah. So like the childhood thing, turning 17. The way I ended school was my dad and stepmother just pulled me out of it one day, my birthday, actually. I had woke up that morning, put on the face makeup and shit that I put on. You might remember it was when I did the burn and the dyed hair,
oh yeah, yep,
the foul smelling Kool Aid with sugar dyed hair.
yep.
Terrible as fuck. No, so yeah, that day though, they when I woke up late. I never went to school on time. I don't know if I think you did. I think you still did, but no, I didn't. But it was about 10:30. I was getting ready to leave. I was told, "Well, you're not in school no more." So I still left and went to school, talked to the counselor, and yeah, they'd withdrawn me, pulled me right out of school, told me I didn't, that I wasn't going no more. She said, yeah, no, she called and withdrew you.
What was the reason they did that?
Well, so even though they didn't say it, and I've never gotten confirmation from my father, from dad, I'm pretty sure it was to have a babysitter to be a live-in so that I could take care of the kid while I
Oh,
worked.
okay,
Um, and I probably in retrospect should have went with it, but the fact that I was being told what to do with my life, being 17 and as rebellious as I was at that point, I called my mom and had her literally pull up, and while she went in to talk to dad because I wasn't going to tell him shit, I
right.
I threw all the items that I wanted to keep out my window of my trailer bedroom and packed up and moved in with mom. Like didn't even really say goodbye. I was really hurt by the fact they did that. That actually caused me and my dad to have a shit almost a I want to say almost 10-year rift, but I don't think
Oh
it
wow.
was that long. I don't think it was quite that long. I think it was only about 6 or 7. We
So you
didn't
didn't speak to him at all during that time?
we didn't talk for a while. Yeah, no, my mom tricked us into talking for the first time after the time. It might have only been about 5 or 6 years, but it was a rift. It was a while.
Wow.
But then, I mean, as life does, things happened. Because like at that point, yeah, moved in with mom, moved up to the mountains, lived up there for about a year. Then my stepdad, her husband, passed away, which was a rough one. But yeah, Steve, you met him.
I did meet him.
He was the that big mountain guy. Yeah, no, I was really close to him. He actually, at the time in my life, at that point in my life, he was more of a father than my dad was to me. He stepped up and just adopted me wholeheartedly, and yeah, he actually made me feel loved by a good male role model.
Right.
I do like I even it was him that helped realize my passion of music. He was a huge CD fan. He had a whole fucking almost a whole wall of them.
Oh wow.
Just a good-hearted guy, but had an alcohol problem, which was a common theme in my life. A lot of people I knew that were close to my mom was an alcoholic. They actually met in recovery.
Oh,
Alcohol
okay.
when she went into recovery, because she did that when I moved in with my father. That was kind of a wake up call to her that, like shit. DUI
Yeah.
either, but I mean, she said that
Right.
part of the reason. But no, I lived up there for a while. Then when we moved back down here, and that's actually when I was introduced to methamphetamines.
Okay.
Because you know me, I've always been a pothead. I've always smoked weed, even before
Right.
it's cool and legal. Um, but when I came back down, all my old friends, they had moved on. They weren't getting weed anymore. They were doing meth. My mom loved the stuff, so it was like, and I didn't realize that the people I was living with even were doing the stuff. So it was like, okay, well, shit, I want to try it. I want
Right.
to something. And it was funny actually. My friends and family, both, all of them, they literally tried to talk me out of it, tried to tell me no, but I could not find weed. And I can say, even after being a 12-year addict, that I hated the shit.
Just did it
I did it because
because
it
of the
was
addiction.
there.
Yeah.
And that was probably part of it too. I mean, I did get shit done on it, even though, like, I know it did a number on my system after all the years
Right.
for 24, 48 hours at a time. That was pretty much my whole 20s. I did.
So how did you get clean of it?
Um, so one night I got a letter. It was an interesting situation. My mom had just hit $125,000 lottery ticket.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was awesome. She's won quite a bit of money on lottery over the years when she was here. But she just hit this lottery ticket. We were living in a trailer in Commerce City. She decided to go get a place. She wanted a house. She had the money finally. She'd get herself go rent a house. Well, I asked her if I could keep the trailer at least for a little while before I moved in.
Right.
She agreed. So she paid 6 months rent on the trailer, told me that if I want, get a job, take it over. Otherwise, rent free. Just let us know if you need food. She pretty much gave me my own little place to chill and even come feed me every once in a while, like stock my
Okay.
shit. They even used it, like her and her boyfriend at the time would use it as like a safe house. They'd come hang out every once in a while, just get away from the other one.
Okay.
But it was nice. So I had my own place. I got a letter in the mail from my third stepmother, my current stepmother, saying that they'd been looking for me. And this had been at a while at this point, because like he had already moved up there to New York. Yeah, he'd been up there. This might be more the 10-year gap, because it was a long while. It was like 27, 26.
Okay.
Um, Older, hitting almost getting close to my 30s. Fucking huge meth addict, just literally living, sitting in my own little trailer, fucking constantly staying high and playing games. Um, I The letter though told me how much Dad misses me and how much they talk about me, this and that. And my sister had just moved up there and got away from her mother, so it was like, oh, that's cool. So I ended up getting a hold of her, and for my dad's birthday that year, I took a trip up. I took a vacation, which was kind of cool because it was technically the first ever vacation I ever took from work that I went somewhere, didn't just stay on.
Right.
That was legitimately the first time I'd ever done that in life. It was kind of cool. But yeah, I took 2 weeks off work, and I took a train up to go see my dad, and that was kind of the start of me getting sober. Because I won't lie, that trip I took I'd say about 50 cents for the listeners that would know what I'm talking about. Uh, on the train with me and got high. So I had a little bit up there, but I knew I was going to be up there long enough that I would start to kind of clean out.
Right.
I kind of feel like shit towards the end of the. So I went up for a week, but I took 2 weeks off. So I wanted some time to hang out. So like I took the 2 weeks. I think it was like I took it Monday to Monday, but I didn't leave till like Thursday, and then I got back next Thursday. So I had a couple days at home to just chill before and after the trip. But no, I got up there. And dad saw me. I saw sis. She was 16, 17. It was like looking at a stranger.
Well, yeah, you haven't seen him in forever.
Yeah, last time I'd seen her, she was maybe 10, 9 or 10. Meeting my new stepmother, who was a pretty cool lady. I had fun, but at one point, like I said, my dad seeing just the condition I was in, he asked how long I'd been doing shit, like without me even telling him I was doing it. He's like, "So how long have you been doing it?" And it kind of opened up that, been a while, want to get clean, but because I'm so sucked into it, I can't get away from it. Don't know what
Right.
to do. He offered me a place. I was like, well, shit, it's kind of nice up here. It's a change of pace. The town itself, Syracuse, is kind of going the way of Detroit, and it wasn't doing so well then. But there were jobs. I mean, there was work. I figured I'd go hang out. I was collecting unemployment, or no, not yet. That was when I came back. After the vacation, I came back and started thinking about it more as I was high and just thinking how much I hated it. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. So I called my stepmom, talked to dad, and he was planning to come down to pick the kids up or to pick, yeah, pick up CJ, pick
Okay.
my brother. And I told him, well, since you're here picking him up, swing by my place and I'll pack up some of my shit. I'm moving up. And he was for it. He even made sure to rent a car that could hold my comic books. That's where they're at.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So you did have quite the collection of that. I do know that.
I've lost a lot,
How
unfortunately.
do you?
Yeah, I lost 5 boxes at one point from a storage unit being basically stolen from me.
Oh, geez.
They auctioned it. I was aware of the auction, but we showed up in time. We showed up by the time they told us to be there with the money, but they had already sold it before
Mm,
they gave us. That's why I say it was kind of stolen from me, but whatever.
right.
I was pissed because those were the ones that were a little more valuable than what I
Oh,
have.
of course.
What I have now, though, nowadays has gone up. I just need to get them like graded and taken care of. But anyway,
So
but yeah, no, I worked up there for about a year and a half. Things didn't go well there. I couldn't find a job. My dad wouldn't let me use the vehicle because it was the only one they had, and it was a POS. Nothing within walking distance was like hiring. Um, it did clean me up though, and that was the main goal. I got up there literally cold turkey. I
wow,
stayed up the whole time on the train though. I did a shit ton. I did about 40 cents again actually before I got on the train. I was up for 2 days, which was the train trip. I didn't sleep the whole thing.
wow.
Got there and pretty much proceeded to fucking pass out. For about 2 weeks, I slept. I'd wake up to eat every little bit and then take a piss, maybe dump. I remember at one point after coming to, my sister telling me that she was worried about me because I was sleeping so much. She thought I
I
needed
can imagine.
a little. And dad was just like, nope, he'll be fine. He just, when he wakes up, he'll be a whole different person, which I was. I woke up feeling good. First time I'd felt good in years.
And
And
you haven't touched the stuff since, right?
and I was just gonna say, and have not touched the shit since. I actually have
Right.
had it around me too. Like, I legitly kicked people out of my apartment last year that busted it out and started smoking it. I was like, no, no, please get this shit away from me. I'm too
Right.
good to do it. I don't want it. I don't want it around me. That was one of the best friends I was telling you about the bad crowd I fell into a little while ago.
Yeah.
He understood. He was a little upset, but he understood.
Well, I would hope so. I mean, and I'm definitely
He,
I can say I'm proud of you for not even going back to it. So,
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I'm an addict, and once an addict, always an addict.
oh yeah,
Easier to manage these days, though. There's some nights, some days that I think, God, it'd be nice to get high again. I kind of miss it. I will admit, life was a little simpler back then, but in retrospect, not really, because like it was always chasing the high.
right.
But like, I mean, I didn't have to work. I didn't have to do all this and that. But granted, I wasn't actually working or doing anything like that. So money was coming elsewhere. Didn't really need money.
Right.
But I mean, now it's not even something I want. These days, my thoughts are all over the place. Um, I won't lie. I know I have some depression, some self-esteem issues from time to time, and those dark thoughts I don't need to last for more than a day. You know,
Right.
up
Right.
all night, up all day, up all night. Start thinking bad like I do from time to time. I don't know. I'd like to think I have enough self control, but there are times that you know I think what
Dude, here's the thing, and it happens, man. I'll tell you from experience that even in being 40, 43 or yeah, 43, that I get those thoughts as well. Like,
yeah.
how do you manage your depression when it hits you really bad?
Me, I just deal with it. Realize this is my life. The acceptance as best as you can be about it.
Right.
Lots of masturbation. I don't know.
Whatever whatever works for
So,
you, I suppose.
but that doesn't help that much though, because it's kind of like doing meth. It's just the cheap high. Get those
Right.
orphans, get those chemicals going in your head, but they only last for about 10, 15 minutes. It's like, God damn it.
Right. So did you ever seek out therapy or anything like that?
I have a little bit here and there. Like I did free therapy in college.
Okay.
Uh, Managing stress issues then though, and just struggling with at that time it was school work, so I decided to quit work. But it was nice to have somebody to talk to. But like that's what I went to college for, was to be my own therapist. My degree is in psychology. Granted, it's only an associate's degree, but that was the plan, was to go farther.
You know you can't be your own psychologist, right?
You shouldn't, but I mean, do I ever do anything that you should do?
But I mean,
I
you
think
can't
no.
be unbiased to your own story. That's the only
Right. Well,
problem.
and I'm not. I'm not. I am truly honest to myself and everybody else. I these days I'm so honest to a fault. Like, and I'm not gonna say I don't tell a little white lie out every now and again. I think everybody
Right.
do from time to time. But for the most part, dude, I mean, like I've gotten in trouble with my honesty. I will.
I can believe that.
I'll be straight with anybody at any time, just because, especially if I did something wrong. If I know if I know something looks weird or I've done something wrong, I'm not gonna try to pass the buck. Just recently, like literally just 2 weeks ago, I hit a cop car. I
Oh, geez.
off, bro. This fucking officer pulled out in front of me. I think he was fucking with his computer. He had just finished writing a citation. I had just finished a cigarette. I got in the work car. I was backing up. I was creeping along to the exit of the gas station we were at. And the gas station I was at, there's a lot of trucks parked on the right side of where I was at. And it's
Okay.
obstruct the view. So I didn't really see anything moving from the area. So I looked left and didn't see nothing coming, but I was doing like 5 miles an hour. That's where I fucked up. I should have stopped. But I looked back up and there's this cop right in front of me, and we slammed into each other at about 5 miles an hour.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, really? I fucking just hit a cop of all people, all things to fucking hit.
Right.
Got a ticket, had to go do a drug test at work. And here's a good point of my honesty. When they told me I had to go do a drug test, I told the operations manager, literally one guy below the owner of the company, that dude, I'm gonna fucking fail this thing. I'm gonna fucking come back positive for marijuana. And he just kind of like, I could kind of hear the stutter in it, bro. Like, oh, okay. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we see it. I still need you to go take it for insurance purposes and all that. It's like, okay, I'm just giving you a heads up. I have yet still to hear anything back on if I'm fired, if I'm getting wrote up, any type of
Now,
disciplinary action.
can they do anything since the state we're in, it's legal?
I'm about to learn how it works. I would assume that they could still go off. I mean, it's a right to work state, first off, so they can,
Right.
for whatever fucking reason they want. They don't even really
Right.
need a reason. But I mean, like, I don't know how all that works if it's still, if corporations still have to abide by federal law and rules, which would say, it's illegal. But if they can go by state, then I mean, I'm allowed to smoke the shit in my spare time. I actually smoke higher CBD than THC stuff now because uh, when I was living in New York, when that was all said and done, I moved to Florida. When I got down there, I started smoking that spice shit.
Oh, the synthetic stuff.
Yeah, it's literally just sprayed with a chemical. Well, it like did a number on me,
I'm
um,
sure.
physically and mentally, because now, well, when I was smoking it, it would feel like I was having trouble breathing, like just drawing a breath.
Wow.
I would get shaky. I honestly I called it chronic Parkinson's disease because it continued anytime I would get too high. If I would get high off good stuff, like normal stuff, like when I moved back to the state here in Colorado, um,
Right.
I'd get high with a friend, and if I got too high, I would start twitching and bobbing and couldn't stop it. Breathing felt ragged and like almost like a panic attack, basically, is what I was told it was. But it was weird. So ever since then, like I'm legitly actually thinking about quitting smoking weed now. Which I don't know if you'd ever think you'd hear me say that the way I was,
No, no, not at all.
but I'm considering it just because I mean anymore it's just like what's the point? It still does it to me. I still have breathing issues, at least it feels like I do. I smoke too much now though. I know that. Cigarettes, I smoke almost a pack a day now.
Oh, wow. So I quit smoking. I quit smoking weed probably 8 to 10 years ago.
Okay.
So that's a that's
I
a
will
whole
admit, I always thought it
stupid
was
story.
weird when
But
you'd smoke weed. You
you
get
thought it was weird when I would?
yeah. It always kind of it was well. So in my mind, you, Dan, Chris, those guys, all you guys were my sober friends.
Okay.
So when you guys started doing drugs, it was kind of weird to me at first. It was just like it took me a minute to get used to it.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I definitely turned more to alcohol than I did weed though. So
Yeah.
that's where I was. But yeah, I quit smoking cigarettes probably 5 years ago or so.
Good for you.
So
I dude,
I just
see as I'm hacking up lungs from smoking.
you're good.
I do need to cut back. I know I do. I well, not to get into a controversial side of a conversation, but like this recent jab COVID shit with the vaccine
Right.
and all that. I think the vaccine did a number on me. I think it affected me in ways that like I don't think it should have.
I mean it's possible.
They
Not
didn't know,
everyone knows the
right?
side effects. So
They didn't know. And I don't feel that like I do feel I was semi forced into getting it, but I that remember I said at the very beginning of this, there's not much I regret in life, but I do have
right.
to do now. That is one that is a regret. I do regret getting that fucking shot. I got it
And I
though.
yeah, and I get everyone's trying to be safe and everything. So
Right.
it's we didn't unfortunately we didn't know, any of the side effects or anything.
It was a panic issue thing. And the reason I was because of my work. Like I said, they weren't forcing it. They didn't say I had to get it or I'd lose my job. But
Right,
what I do for work is walking into people's homes. And when I'd walk into a person's home during the pandemic there, because I was deemed essential, so I didn't get a break. I didn't lose my job. I had nothing. I
right,
more actually. Um, But when I would walk into a customer's home, one of the first things they ask you is, "Are you vaccinated?" When you'd say no, or at least when I'd say no, I literally like they'd take like 3 steps back and be, "Oh, well, okay, okay. Well, can you wear a mask?" I felt like a leper,
right.
and that feeling, that social like judgment aspect of my job, that's what convinced me to get the shot.
Gotcha.
And it was just like, fuck it, I'll do it. What's it gonna hurt? But then, yeah, within a year and a half, 2 years now of getting the shot, I've put on almost 60 pounds. I've been to the doctors twice now for my heart because my heart feels weird,
Oh
hurt
wow.
every time. Um, And I don't feel the same. The weight really has me concerned because it literally, you remember me. I've always been skinny, and I was thin all the way up until literally my 41st birthday.
Oh wow.
I've got the adult pictures to prove it. Now it's like
I believe it. I believe it.
I've got a gut. And actually, like, I could say I'm fat and grab fucking flab, and it's like, wow. I'm about 160 now.
Okay.
157 is what I think I weighed myself at last, which is it's weird for me. I'm not used to carrying so much weight.
Right.
And yes, of course, that could probably cause some heart issues too. But like, I've done some research. I've seen some videos. I believe what I see on the internet.
That's not always a safe thing, right?
I know it's not safe. Yeah, jokingly, but no, I mean
Right.
like I've seen things they'll say that it's causing blood clots and that the virus or the DNA, the RNA rewriter that they inject into you doesn't stop and kind of floods your body with things.
Yeah, I don't know anything about any of that. So
Yeah, well, I'm paranoid. You know,
that's fair. I know.
I'm a conspiracy theorist, a doctor. I love them all.
It's all right. We can believe in the lizard people and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, I think I've met a couple. Really
Well, you did
do.
say you were down. You did say you were down in Florida.
Oh,
So
dude, yeah, Florida. Well, and keep in mind, what my clientele for my job is fucking dollar, dude. I've done work for a customer that bought 30 fucking appliances for their house.
wow.
And I'm not talking like low end, cheap ass $400, $1,000 fridges. No, I'm talking like these were like $20,000 fridges. We put like three of them in.
Wow.
And then like little kitchens for their families in the bedroom. Dude, their kids got a fucking dishwasher, a wine cooler, a laundry set, and a microwave for their fucking rooms.
Jeez.
Three of them. So yeah,
That's crazy.
I'm pretty sure I've met a lizard person or two. Hell, I think the catfish girl I'm talking to fucking might be a lizard person even.
Oh, jeez.
That's where my social life is at now.
All right.
I've
There's nothing wrong with that.
I've gone to catfishing online or being catfished, I should say online.
You don't know if you're being catfished yet.
Oh, well, I
I
was.
mean,
So no, I actually legitimately was. She'd been lying to me, but I got tired of the bullshit one night, and I did a photo search of the picture she was sending me online to see if I could find
right.
her online, and I did.
And it wasn't her.
No, it wasn't her. It was a. I wonder if you've heard of her. She's kind of a B-list actress. Her name is Victoria Smurfit.
No, no, I don't know who that is. I'll have to look it up
She's
after we're done talking.
she's an attractive woman. She really is. She's Scottish, I think.
Okay.
But no, this girl was sending me pictures saying that's who she was. And I looked that up, saw that, so I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I paid for a background service for a week, and I looked her up and found out the truth. Well, some of the truth, anyhow.
Okay. Is it actually a female?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
She's
I
cute.
mean, not that it matters. I
Well,
mean, if you want to talk to a dude, then whatever.
we
But
do still talk. No, no. Well, at least the new pictures I get now, yes, are female. No,
oh,
we video chat. We've talked.
okay.
Maybe like there's always been plans to talk here and there of possibly meeting, but shit happens and
So did you call her on sending fake pictures?
oh yeah, dude, I called her on everything. She's lucky I still talk to her.
Okay. What was her
I,
reason for sending it?
well, she originally told me she was afraid that I wouldn't like her.
Okay.
She's younger too, and she thought like if she was pretending to be somebody closer to my age, that would be okay. And when I say younger, I'm not talking underage. She's like 30, 29.
Right. Let's make that clear.
Yeah, yes. Um, but no, it's honestly, you want to know why I still talk to her? It's out of loneliness. It's somebody to talk to at the end of the day, even if it is not close.
Right.
And I'm lonely. I ain't gonna lie. I got used to the married life. I enjoyed, even if it wasn't that good, at least according to my ex-wife. Um, I enjoyed it. I had fun. I know it wasn't what ideal plans were, but it was nice having the companionship. And I'm lonely for that. I miss that. So I allow myself to be pretty much played until I can find something new. Which, dude, dating sites suck. The dating scene in Colorado sucks. Be thankful you are not single. I
Yeah,
expect day and age, dude, with they, them, and I'm fucking how many different pronouns and different things. Oh my god. Not that
yeah,
I'm
I don't.
of it, each to each their own, but I just being single, it's rough for a white guy that's got traditional values. Not so traditional that I believe a woman should be barefoot and pregnant, but I believe a woman should be a woman, and I want my woman to be a woman biologically.
I got where you're coming from.
I,
So
some days I just think I'm not made for society anymore, to be honest.
no, that's not. You just you gotta find the right person that you click with. I mean, it's not something that just happens like that.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, but what if she's Ukrainian stuck in the war right now and I'm not going to understand her?
well, then you gotta.
Should I go ahead and get on those? Should I just order one anyhow? And I mean, sell since there's a war going on. Maybe they're selling them cheap.
I don't think that's how it works, though. So there was one thing I wanted to ask. When you were down in Florida,
Okay,
you worked at a convenience store, right?
I did. I did.
And you got stabbed.
Oh, I didn't get stabbed. I did get assaulted and
Okay, I thought you got stabbed.
no. The guy did. He did try. He tried to stab me 5 times. Yeah, that was a fun night. That was a very weird story to that night. No, yeah, he walked in, he attacked me. He tried to stab me 5 times. We fought. I took the knife away from him, and I can't say stab, but I did poke him three
Like,
times. I was pissed because each time I hit him with the knife, it would not sink into his skin. So I kept trying.
was he wearing something or like?
We were just wearing clothes, both of us.
Okay,
He no, I'm sorry, I got that wrong. God, it was a long time ago. He tried to hit me 3 times. I hit him 5. I
okay,
got that backwards. The first one was the scariest one. So to put the night in perspective, it's not really a long story, but I've got to start at the beginning. The beginning happened when I was at home. I was at this point in life, I was severely depressed actually. Um, just ugly, dark, hating the world, not wanting to be a part of it, missing those few little good things that I used to have that are gone at this point. I posted on Facebook before I went to work that night that maybe I'll get lucky and somebody will come in and just take me out at work.
oh jeez,
And then 4 hours later, literally 4 hours later, somebody came in and tried to take me out at work.
oh man,
Yeah, dude, talk about a fucking reality check. It definitely invested the idea into me that you really do manifest those things you truly deeply want if you put enough energy into it and put it out into the universe.
oh yeah, oh
It,
yeah.
it's amazing though how it works so much better or more often with negative thought than it does positive thought. It sucks that it does that, but if you have enough positive thought, it will manifest itself eventually. I know this.
Oh, and I firmly believe that as well. So
But no, that night, dude, was wild. I was ironically enough thinking about what would I do because I was mopping, so I was swinging it like a bow staff and shit.
right,
Thinking about like this, it'd be badass to as somebody come in trying to rob. Then this big black guy come walking in, probably about 250, and at the time I was maybe 1 1/4.
okay,
For weight. Come in and asked me for a pack of Newport Lights, and when I reached up with my left hand because it was in one of those racks above us, above the head.
right.
I reached up to look and grab him, and I felt this like blunt trauma to my chest, like right up.
Oh, shit.
It was so much, it took me by surprise, but it knocked me back like 3 feet, 2, 3 feet even. And it was like, what the fuck? Well, just as I kind of looked down to see what had hit me, I heard a loud thump and I looked up and he was actually hurdling the countertop and literally like grabbing me. And that's when I saw the knife. He had a knife in his hand. And I think he had just hit me. Like my rationale at this point is I think he had just hit me with this knife.
Right.
Like I freaked out. I was like, what the fuck is going on? What are you doing, dude? What do you want? And he's like, I want the money, open the register. And at one point, I was like, dude, okay, well, you got to let me go and let me do it. Put the knife away. Please don't hurt me.
Right.
Um, I remember kind of reaching over to do that, and he kind of threw me into the back wall of cigarettes and said something about wanting more money and this and that. And I was like, dude, no. And then he went to go stab me in the stomach. And I grabbed his hand and kind of threw it to my left. And he missed, thank God.
Yeah.
Pulled back and we start tuffling a little bit, not fighting much, but he's like, give me the money, get me the money, this, that. I kick open the drawer, he grabs it, sets it down on the ground, and starts pocketing what's in the drawer. I take a couple steps back and I'm like, dude, you need to get the fuck out of here. Now, I don't want to have to call the police. And that was the wrong thing. As soon as I said call police, he reared up back at me, grabbed me, threw me against the wall again, and tried to stab me in the side.
Oh, geez.
Missed because of my shirt. Like my shirt was a big shirt.
Right.
I think he thought I was a bigger guy than I was. So he missed me again there. But at that point, like, he's like, well, dude, you're going to give me a ride. You need to give me your keys. And I was like, dude, you're not taking my vehicle. I was like, you can have anything you want in this gas station, dude. You can take the money, take whatever else. But no, you are not taking my vehicle. He's like, no, you're going to give me a ride. It's like, oh, hell no. So at that point, we did I was like, no, no, dude. And we started fighting. He started pulling me in more. He, at that point, grabbed me and slammed my face into the counter.
Oh, man.
And I remember that well. And that was when I realized, I'm going to have to fight. This is going to get ugly. I started fighting we started kind of wrestling a bit. We ended up working our way into the back room. And when back there, um, we'd gotten to a point where we were still wrestling a bit. And I tried punching him, but I never was much of a puncher. I could kick better, but
Right.
at one point we'd gotten into a position where I was still holding his hand. I'd never let go of his hand. I was not going to let that knife come anywhere near me.
I don't blame you.
I had his hand, which was my right hand with his right hand. And I had him by the wrist, and I was not letting that go. He was behind me, and he had his arm wrapped around me, grabbing my shirt. So he's pretty much on my back for the most part. And I just remember my left hand was free. I looked at that knife, and I was like, I'm going to take that fucker. And just as I reached for it, I felt teeth sink into my head. Motherfucker started biting my head, dude.
Wow.
But as he was biting my head, I grabbed the blade of the knife, which was basically like a bread knife, like an 8-inch bread knife from the kitchen.
Okay.
But I remember grabbing the blade and I gave it a hard tug out,
Oh,
and the fucking thing came loose. I had the knife. His grip, he didn't have a good grip on it. Well, there was probably about 3 or 4 inches. No, not even that. Probably only about an inch and a half of the blade sticking out from the backside of my hand. So as I grabbed it and got it free and realized I got it free, I swung up and I hit him in the left shoulder. And that was the first poke I got with him because I don't know. I think I did stab him because I was told they saw a blood trail. So I'm
okay.
sure I broke some skin at some point. But that was the first one. When I did that, he let go of me, literally kind of pushed me back, oh fuck. And I turned, and instinctively, as I turned to look at him, I threw the knife into my right hand and was like, dude, it's on now. Let's do this. I've got the fucker. Went at him, dove, hit him in the chest, and I hit him in the chest, and he just kind of reeled back a bit and pushed me again. We started fighting a little bit more, And I remember getting knocked down to the ground, or no, fighting a bit more. When he grabbed me, I hit him in the leg, right leg, no, left leg. Bam, hit him there. And that backed him up a bit. And then he came at me again and knocked me down. And I just remember when I was down, I got spun around that he had my leg. He was standing over me with his ass basically right in my face. And he was grabbing up my leg. And I stabbed him in the ass, bro. Literally, third shot or fourth shot at that point in the leg or in the ass. And that dude, literally, like in the movies, he reeled up like a cartoon, like, oh, fuck.
Oh,
And
yeah, I can imagine.
it was that was funny, dude. I'll never forget that one, that moment. But he reeled up, or I jumped up, and as he turned, I dove at him. And dude, I shit you not, like I don't know if you've ever had a moment of pure like adrenaline going, where like you're literally in fight or flight mode. But like, dude, when I dove at him, time no shit like slowed down just for a minute for me, because I had enough thought. Because when I dove, I brought the knife up and I was gonna stab him in the neck because I had a good shot at it. And as I was swinging in, I had the thought, like I had enough time to rationalize, do I want to stab this guy in the neck and kill him? Do I really want to live with a death on my conscience if I kill this man? Like,
Right.
I want to kill somebody today. And I told myself, no, I don't want to kill this guy. So I quickly brought the knife in and I shouldered him in the chest instead of stabbing him in the neck. That was enough to knock him into the bibs of the water fountain or the soda machine.
Okay.
It staggered him enough that at that point I had enough distance and I had a shot at the exit. So I took it. I fucking ran. And I ran like, dude, you know me, I was quick.
Yeah.
Ran out, hit the fucking turnstile, jumped through, and was out the door before he actually even fully recovered. Because I remember getting across the way and glancing back just for a second. I didn't see anything. So I was like, okay, cool. I ran across the street and there was it's called a Piggly Wiggly. Um, I'm sure you've heard of it.
I have, yep.
Grocery store down south. Um, there was one of those across the street, and I seen vehicles in the parking lot, so I thought maybe they had a night crew. I knew they were closed, but I thought maybe there was a night crew there. So I ran up to it, dude, and at this point, I'm fucking exhausted. I'm a heavy smoker. I'm not in the best shape. Fucking
You just got assaulted, yeah.
just got attacked. Fucking adrenaline's like ran across the street, and I tried what I wanted to break the window of the Piggly Wiggly. So I hit it with the butt of the knife as hard as I could, and I literally just collapsed into the window. Like I was hoping to make it and fall through it, you know?
Right.
It sucked in retrospect, but that's what I wanted. That way I knew the alarm would go off. I knew the cops would show up, and I knew, you know, it would happen quick because like there's a break-in at the Piggly Wiggly.
Right.
Well, I hit that. I turned. I sat down, and I was done, dude. If the guy would have chased me, at that point, he probably could have hurt me because I don't think I could have fought back at that point. I was that exhausted. But I saw a payphone right there to the left, so I grabbed it and dialed 911, and got told actually, like, yeah, no, we actually just got the alarm at the Piggly Wiggly. It turns out I hit the window hard enough that I did set off the alarm. But yeah, within about 5 minutes, the cops were actually pretty good at responding on that one. There was a cop pulling up to my to the parking lot, and that was a trip because yeah, they
So did that.
over. I remember they took me back over, and they were questioning me. They had me in the car, kind of recovering, and one of the cops come out. But at this point, my mom had been there. We'd called her. She had showed up, and they'd come out. One of the cops had come out, and he comes up to me. He goes, "Dude, I gotta ask you something." And I'm like, "What's that?" He goes, "Would you get upset if I shot you in the chest just to see if you're Superman?" And I looked at him and I went, "Excuse me," because I was a little offended by the fact that he's wanting to shoot me, but he's
Right.
Superman. And I was like, "What do you mean, like Superman?" I asked him, I was like, "Excuse me, what do you mean, like Superman?" He goes, "Dude, the security video is wild." He goes, "The guy literally hits you in the chest with a knife and it deflects. The blade deflected." He said, "You can see it literally bounce off and up." And he goes, "Can I look at something real quick?" And I go, "Sure." He grabs my shirt and he pulls down to my sternum And I shit you not, bud, the polo shirt I was wearing had a little button. You know how they button up at the top?
Yeah.
The button was imprinted into my chest.
He hit out of all that, he hit the
He
button.
hit the button.
Oh wow.
And that's what saved my fucking literally probably saved my life. Because it was
Well, yeah, because that would have went into your
above my
chest.
heart. Yeah, it was like literally just above my heart. Well, I guess it depends on what Mandela world you live in, because like our heart should be off to our left, but now they say it's in our center. But yeah, it was literally the mid sternum right above where the center of my chest is.
Wow.
Fucking button mark, dude. Like Batman. You know how Batman wears the yellow emblem because
Yep.
it's a bulletproof part? Yeah. Dude, it tripped me out when he told me that. My mom even was like, "Really?" And she went in to go watch the video. She come out crying. She said, "Oh my god!" I noticed later on my shirt, and I still have the polo shirt, dude. If we ever meet up again and you're here at my place, I'll show it to you. The button latch, the little slit that's cut for the button to the top button to fit into,
Right.
has an X-shaped cut in it now.
Oh wow.
The blade went up into there and came out, and it's a perfect X. He hit it perfectly up and down versus the horizontal aspect.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I mean, went through all that, and that's actually what made me decide to leave Florida. Wasn't going so well. I stayed for about another 5-6 months, but like I noticed when I'd read the paper, somebody was trying to kill somebody. There was
Yeah,
a neighbor for air conditioning.
it's a different world down there, that's for sure.
Dude, it was a trip. So yeah, after that though, like I said, I was there for about another 6 months, and I moved back. I still have though. I have all the newspaper clippings. When I got back, they were actually going to subpoena me. It was about a year later. They were talking about subpoenaing me down as a witness to testify against him. Um,
Um,
through the course of it, I'd heard a couple days prior he had held an old lady up. Not old lady. She was probably about my mom's age.
right.
He had held her up at an ATM, made her with
Wow.
$400, kidnapped her, and made her drive him to a apartment building to buy drugs. And that's where
Really?
he left her. He didn't hurt her. He got out the car and he went in to go buy drugs, so she was able to leave.
That's
But
insane.
I was gonna go down and testify. I told him sure, state of Florida was gonna pay for it and everything. But I guess while he was in holding in jail, he assaulted his cellmate. And they're like, "We've got plenty to put this guy away. We actually don't need you down here no more."
Oh,
And like, cool. Like
that's nuts.
I did not want to see him again.
Right.
But yeah.
Um, so before we end this, what's probably your best memory that you have of anything?
It's a good question. I've recently noticed my memory's starting to slip a little bit. Or I
Yeah, mine does too. Don't feel bad.
yeah, I hope it's not a sign that I'm getting older, but I'm pretty sure it's a sign I'm getting older.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us.
That one's hard to say, honestly, because like all my good memories have certain feels to them.
That's fair.
Um, we're holding my sister for the first time. That was amazing. My first love, my wife, my ex. Dude, I felt on top of the world at that point in life.
Right.
Um, shit like driving. First time I got to drove, dude, that was like the greatest. I was free. Yeah, I honestly I can't really say there's one favorite.
That's all right. Doesn't have to be. I think those are all great examples.
Yeah, it's a collab. I mean, that's what life is all about, is experience, right? What little time we have here.
So if you could pass on anything to anyone listening, what would it be then?
Don't do drugs, okay?
Okay.
No, honestly, yeah, okay. Honestly, though, just be aware of what you're doing to yourself, because what you do to yourself does affect others. And even if we don't feel like it all the time, we are all in this together.
Yeah, that is very true. We definitely
You,
are.
Yeah, I mean, like we all have our own separate individual experiences of life, but at the end of the day, we're all fucking living. So there's no reason to go shit on my life because you feel the need to, or vice versa, you know?
Right.
You don't have to help me out either. I understand that and respect that too, but don't fucking make things harder for me. Jesus,
Right.
that's not cool.
No, it's definitely not. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. I definitely appreciate you giving me your time. So,
Yeah, no worries, bud. It's been fun, actually. I enjoyed this.
so did I. So, um, we'll talk to you soon.
For sure, yeah. I'll try not to be such a stranger, even though we're strangers again.
Right. We'll talk to you later.
And that would be credits roll. Right on.
Bye.
Have a good one.
All right. Thank you guys so much for listening with us on this episode. Hopefully, it clicked with some people. Maybe it didn't. Maybe you just had some fun, which is perfectly fine as well. Remember, you can find me on the socials, Stico Podcast, STICO Podcast, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Email is stickopodcast@gmail.com. You can shoot me a message. I always like hearing from everybody. If you just want to talk, you can reach me there. If you want to be on an episode, send me a message. We'll definitely record something. And until next time, be safe and don't be a stranger.